On this episode of Locked On Angels, who does Perry Minasian anticipate being in the starting rotation in 2025? What will keep the Halos starters in the game a little bit longer? Well, Jered Weaver knows. And we're going to recap, because we have to, last night's game against the Tigers. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Angels stink, but we're still number one. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you'd like to get back to John and I, the Super Halo Bros, for all this Super Halo content, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and become a Locked On every day. We're creeping towards 8,000 subscribers. John, we started with just 800. So we're grateful for all of our everydayers. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with us and be a part of the conversation. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. What time is it? Game time.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
A little 90s Chicago Bulls for you. And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Hey, it's our third season here at Locked On Angels, talking Angels baseball with you every single Monday through Friday. You can always count on us to be there for you, rain or shine. And speaking of rain, the Angels had to deal with a rain delay. I was looking forward to an early game.
Yeah,
where we could do the show, get it done. No. The Angels have to disappoint us in so many kinds of ways, right? But listen, we're so glad that you're here. We're talking about the rotation in 2025 and Perry Minasian's thoughts on who might be in it. Plus, there was a tweet from Jered Weaver, ding, my favorite Angel of all time, that got me thinking. And so I did a little bit of research. We'll talk about that in the third segment. But first, let's talk about the game against the Tigers last night, Mike. The Angels lost 6-2, 6 losses in a row. This is looking pretty dire, right?
Yeah, we were told before the game, Ron Washington said that they had a come to Jesus meeting. Johnny, did it work? They didn't find Jesus last
Apparently
night.
Not. I mean, listen, you're the pastor around these parts, so yeah. I don't know why you weren't in Detroit having this meeting with them.
Nobody called me.
Yeah, it obviously didn't work, so there you go.
It started off pretty well, though. Taylor Ward led off the game with a double. He's really finding his comfort zone in that leadoff spot. Schanuel followed with a single with one out, and that gave the Halos a lead because Taylor Ward came around and scored. But then the Tigers came right back in the fourth inning. Johnny Cueto pitched really well, didn't give up a hit until that fourth inning, and then the wheels kind of came off the next couple innings. They got their first 2 runs in the fourth inning. John, there was an error in the outfield. Jo Adell went to pick it up, kind of rolled away from him, and allowed a base runner to get to third. Then there was a ball that should have been caught between Taylor Ward and Kevin Pillar. It was, I got it, you got it. And it kind of just fell in, and they both had their gloves at the right spot, but the ball fell exactly where their gloves weren't. And so that was a frustrating play too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Zach Neto did make a great sliding catch in short left field in that inning. So to make up for how poorly it was going in the outfield, Neto was like, you know what? I'll do it.
He saved their lives.
Yeah, I'll be the one.
Jesus. He saved their lives. It was a great play.
Yeah, just unfortunately not a great outing for Cueto at the end of the day. The Tigers were able to come right back, after the Angels were able to score and tie the game in the top of the fifth. Jo Adell triples. Taylor Ward gets the sacrifice fly. I just, pardon me if I'm on my high horse about Jo Adell, but I love the fact that he's just been tearing it up in this month of August. If there's anything that gets me excited about Angels baseball, one part of that is Jo Adell, considering he's doing this on offense. He's being the best right fielder in all of baseball, according to defensive run saves, out above average, whatever metric you want to use.
Yeah.
So I just think we're going to look back on this season and go, all right, there's the baseline. There's the baseline.
I'd like to say something if I could.
Okay.
We talked a lot about Luis Rengifo, and a lot of fans have said, well, he only does it when it doesn't matter, right? In the last couple of August, he's kind of heated up, and he did it when it didn't matter, right? But then we saw what happened when it did matter. He actually came through at a 300 batting average. I know injuries derailed that. I think, John, that this is Jo Adell's Luis Rengifo month. And I think that we're going to start to see next season a Jo Adell who's going to be a bit more consistent. So don't be mad at his numbers, even though they're great. And even though it's happening at a really terrible time, he is putting some things together, and wins and losses don't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wins and losses don't matter for the Angels right now. And him putting things together, he had a slash line of about 280 with a 3-something on base and a 400 slugging. The guy's been pretty good since July.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are great stats. That's what you want from Jo Adell. Yes, you want him to come through when it matters, but Jo Adell has to actually start knowing how to come through at any point during the season. And I think he's learning how to do that right now.
You got to start somewhere. And so it's going to start in these, rain delayed Tiger games in Detroit. So the Angels were able to get the run back and tie the game, but then the Tigers came right back with a homer in the bottom of the inning, added 3 more runs in the bottom of the 6th on 2 home runs, a solo shot and a 2-run home run. That knocked out Cueto. And if you want a definition of what people mean when they say a pitcher runs out of gas, well, look no further than this start from Cueto, because he was pedal to the metal for the first few innings and honestly ran out of gas. Stuff sitting in the middle of the zone. And so he went 5 innings, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 5 Ks, and surrendered the 3 home runs there. And so, that was disappointing to see. But listen, we've already said this. He's a body to get through to the end of the season. And Mike, I hope, because I know you put it together, I hope that there's some hopium for me in segment 2 when Perry Minasian talks about the starting pitching. So just can we please just simulate season and have these guys just eat up innings and
get us to the very end, right? I do have to say Cueto had a quality start. His last start, 6 innings, gave up just 2 or 3 runs, right? It's probably good that he didn't do well in this start, because if he did do well in this start and the Angels still lost, there would be the tweets that would say, hey, we should re-sign Cueto. I think he'd be a great piece for the starting rotation, right? And that's where I think we really have to pump the brakes, because we get into that situation with Moustakas and Kevin Pillar. And honestly, I love what Moustakas did last year. Thankful for Pillar. Glad that Cueto is the body for us. I want better as a fan. And so if I want a young player to take that spot right now, it's frustrating to see Brandon Drury play. It's frustrating to see Jack Lopez play. I want a young player up there getting some experience. I know you don't want to overwhelm them. I know you want them to kind of cook in the minor leagues, but quite honestly, it's just a dead spot in the order, and it's not doing any good for anybody to have those 2 players there. And so I'm going to, as a fan, I'm going to pump the brakes on, hey, let's bring this guy back. It'd be a great veteran presence. Tired of that, man. I just want to see fresh bodies, energetic bodies. I want good vibes and good culture, man. That's what I want on this team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I said it the other day. How many veteran presences do we need on this team? Because
they don't have an impact. There's no impact at this point, because it doesn't seem to turn the dials for anybody. And when we talk about some of the young guys, John, you tweeted something from @LockedOnAngels on Twitter, and I wanted you to share that, because if there's only one good thing from this game, and there really was hard to find one good thing, I think this is it. So go ahead and share that tweet.
Yeah, absolutely. It's times like this where you see Ryan Miller make his Angels/MLB debut at 28 years old out of the pen, in addition to what Ryan Zefferjon did the other day with 4 Ks, and he came in and had a great inning last night as well. It's those things that make you believe the Halos can build a bullpen from within. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that, especially with somebody like Robert Stevenson coming back, you've seen the progress from Ben Joyce. I think the Angels can build something from within. And if they're going to cut costs, then do it in the bullpen, because you have enough capable arms in this bullpen that you don't need to go spending a ton of money. I know they owe Robert Stevenson, a couple $1 million for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I just think that if they have a spot that they can build from within, it's got to be this bullpen. And it's because of the trade to get Ryan Zefferjon, to see Ryan Miller, who was DFA'd and let go from one team to another, to come up and debut the way that he did.
Yeah.
Where it was like, there's a pitcher who knows what he's doing, and he knows what he's about, and he knows how to use his velo, and he knows how to locate. I want to see more of that. So for me, building upon this in the bullpen, I think they can absolutely do it. I think, they might add an arm or 2, but to be honest with you, Mike, there are so many other areas of need in this offseason that if you want to chalk yourself, if you're the Angels front office and you want to say, a win for us this season is the bullpen, because they've been good since June. They've been good since June, and it's crazy. And this is without Estevez and Luis Garcia, who is Garcia having trouble in Red Sox territory. I've seen whispers, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked at his numbers since he got traded. But
neither have I.
Yeah, all of that to say, I think if there's one area the Angels can build from within, it's for the bullpen.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Angels play the Tigers, we think, at 3:40 Pacific time today. You can catch every pitch of the Angels' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Angels. And coming up, so who has a shot to be in the 2025 starting rotation? Johnny, GMPM shared some of his thoughts. You teased it out. Here's a hint. Johnny Cueto is not a part of that. And we're going to give you the details of who he said he thinks should be in the starting rotation coming right up. Locked On Angels is brought to you by eBay Motors. Hey, you're working on your ride? Well, eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers to roof racks to exhaust kits to LED headlights so you can drive down the road and blind people. It's going to be fantastic. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has everything that you need and got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your auto, you'll find exactly what you're looking for at ebaymotors.com. And they got the eBay Guarantee Fit, John. It's fantastic. Your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every single time, or they're going to give you your money back. And with all the parts that you need at the prices that you want, it's easy to keep your car, truck, or SUV alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and the eBay Guarantee Fit is only available to U.S. customers.
And today's show is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can watch those winning numbers roll in for you. If you sign up today, you can get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win. You can just get $50 for playing $5. It's guaranteed. Starting in September, listen to this. Prize Picks has a bonus for you. One Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every single week in September. And if you're unaware, you're going to want to take the over on that. So pick more. Pick more on that one.
Yes.
It's basically an automatic win every week of September. So make sure you watch the games and make that pick every single week in September. Don't miss the deal, because when September is over, this deal is gone. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks, run your game. This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And everydayers, we announced it the other day, and we're super excited for you to join us. It's the Angels All-Star Bowl. It's an event put on by Logan O'Hoppe in memory of his former teammate, Corey Phelan. Corey's Promise is an organization that walks with families whose children might have pediatric cancer, and they help support them through that process, whether it's financially, emotionally. Corey's Promise is just a huge blessing, to be honest with you. And Logan O'Hoppe is putting on the Angels All-Star Bowl so that we can do some fundraising for Corey's Promise. And we want you to be there. October 5th, it's a Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. It's going to be in Lakewood at Cal Bowl. And Mike and I are going to be there. We'll be bowling with you. The players will be bowling with us as well. So we're super excited. And it's supporting a great cause. Grab your tickets by clicking the link in the show description. And when you do, use our promo code BROS, that's BROS, at checkout, and you get $50 off your ticket. We're so honored to be part of this event. We would love our fellow Angel fans, our Locked On Everydayers, to be there. So let's show up and show out for Logan O'Hoppe.
John, the starting rotation is always a conversation when it comes to the Angels. Right now, entering last night, they have pitched their way to a 4.85 ERA, which ranks 28th in baseball, so they haven't been great. Here's an interesting note. The bullpen has actually been one of the better stories on this team. Since June 17th, and you mentioned it, the bullpen has led the majors with a 2.79 ERA and ranks second with a 107 whip. So they've been pretty great. So how does GMPM try to improve this starting rotation? Well, he spoke to Jeff Fletcher of the OC Register, had a few things that he wanted to say about this potential starting rotation. First, he admits that the staff hasn't been great. And I love that. Just Of course, we know that, right? He said we're not perfect by any stretch, but they're a lot better than we were just 2 or 3 years ago. So the question is that true? Are they better? I went back, John, and I looked at the starting rotation 3 years ago, 2021. Ohtani, Sandoval, Haney, Cobb, and Dylan Bundy, with the occasional Jose Suarez thrown in there. They also got starts from Canning, Berea, and Quintana that season. So are things better? Well, Perry said, I think so. And one of the major reasons why he said things are better is because of the development of one Jose Soriano. He's 6-7, 3.42 ERA, and he was a guy that wasn't supposed to be in the starting rotation, but they stretched him out and they put him in there. So Perry says things are better because we have good potential. Things are better because we have Jose Soriano. Do you believe him?
I believe him. I mean, look, Shohei Ohtani was carrying the pitching staff by himself. And so if you remove him from the equation, you're going to see some more inflated numbers. Now, I know Sandoval, Detmers, they had really decent 2022s. We were expecting a lot out of them in 2023, especially with Shohei in the rotation. So in terms of, if you just look at the top level stats and you're looking at it from a 1,000 miles above the air, it might look bad now, but I think comparatively to years ago, there's depth here, Mike. There's depth in terms of who the Angels have at their disposal to actually do something in the starting rotation. I know that Detmers was inconsistent, Sandoval's hurt, Chase Silseth is hurt, but I look forward to the opportunities that these guys that are coming up through the minor leagues could get in the future. And I know, I expect Detmers to be back before the end of the season. I expect Chase Silseth, by all accounts, he's going to be healthy by spring training, so that would be good to see. I think that I'm not going to hang my hat on just those two guys. I think there's more beyond that. So what I will say is this team is better set up for success in terms of the starting rotation because of the guys they have the ability to go to versus, hey, let's go get a Quintana. Let's go get a Dylan Bundy, right? I don't think they have to necessarily do that. Would I like them to add some arms in this offseason? Of course. But at the same time, you can still go to the depth that you have within this organization.
Yeah. You mentioned some of those names in the young core. Perry actually admits that the young core of Sandy, Detmers, and Canning haven't met expectations. Again, obvious. Canning has a 5.18 ERA. He said Canning's value, though, despite his high ERA, is his ability to take the ball and provide innings, which he has done, right?
Yeah.
He also said the most talented pitcher in that group is Reed Detmers, and he is saying that they're working with him because they hope to see a bit more consistency from Detmers and that they believe he'll be a big factor going forward for the Halos. So his last 2 starts, Johnny, in AAA have been quality starts. So call it right now. We going to see Reed Detmers in the bigs very soon?
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll wait till whatever that date is where they get the extra year of Reed Detmers. Look, I know that that's just flat out contract manipulation, but you didn't get a major league season from Reed Detmers. Let's just be honest here.
Right.
And there was no way that they could continue to run him out there to get shelled the way he was getting hit around and throwing a ton of pitches. So if he needed to go to AAA to build that confidence back up or work with the coaches and find something, I think that's great. And I think it's also worth another season of Reed Detmers. Mike, I was shocked when you said this when he first went down. You were like, I keep him down there till September. Well, you know what? It's looking like they're going to keep him down there until September.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it was very much needed. And so I appreciate Perry's recognition that, he wanted to see more out of those young guys. However, I am, how should I put this? I'm shocked at the fact that they let Reed Detmers work on things in AAA because that tells me, one, they're not trying to push to the playoffs. They're not trying to rush things. And two, it shows you how much they value Reed Detmers. They gave him time to work on things. And I think that's really important.
He mentioned a couple of young pitchers that you've mentioned already. I'll give you some popcorn answers here. He talked about how he has high hopes for Chase Silseth. He said he's going to be ready in the spring, like you said, and they believe when he's healthy, he can be one of the most effective starters in this rotation. He's going to win games for them. Yeah, absolutely. He also said Jack Kahanowitz is going to be in this starting rotation until the end of the year. He's pleased with his rebound. He had some quality starts the last 3 starts, and again, we'll hang in the rotation. You need some help, so I might as well let him do that, right? And then Sam Bachman was moved really slowly through this season because of his shoulder surgery. He's come back. He's had a couple of dominant starts, a couple of sloppy starts. Perry again says the same word we've heard constantly, consistently. I want consistency from these guys. And then, Johnny, he spoke about Caden Dana, George Clausen, and Samuel Altagere. He said Dana has the potential to be one of the best pitchers the Angels have ever seen, and he's really developed at what he said, quote, is a challenging level. He's thrown more innings this year. He's gotten better this year. That's a real positive. And then with Clausen and Altagere, John, he said that Clausen has a fastball of 100 miles an hour, super great. He's struggling with control, but he's improved this season. He said Altagire's stuff isn't as good as Clausen's, but he's more polished. And so you might see him a whole lot sooner. And then, John, here's the big news when he talked about the 2025 rotation. He said Detmers, Silseth, Kahanowitz, Bachman, Dana, Clausen, and Altagere all are going to be given as many opportunities as they can to win a starting spot in the 2025 rotation. And then I thought this was interesting. He said, we want to fill the gaps with pitchers like Fulmer, Daniel, Rosenberg, and Suarez. And so he mentioned that those guys might still be around. Now, Fulmer, I'm not sure of his contract situation, but, Daniel, Rosenberg, and Suarez are under control.
Yeah.
And then, John, I thought it was really interesting. He also brought up 2026, which you and I have talked, potentially that being the window where they're going to win, right? And he mentioned 2 really young pitchers that have had unbelievable years. And he said next year we're going to see them really pop. And then he talked about the second round picks that could potentially be with the Angels in 2026. All of that to say this, ask you a question. What did you hear from Perry as he talked about next year, as he talked about 2026, and as he talked about some of the things that have happened this year?
Yeah, I think what I heard from Perry is patience. I think that it's worth the time and the investment that they've let somebody like Sam Bachman heal up and get better and see how he does. I know that we want to win every year. Yeah. And as fans, we want to see them have success. But coming into the season, it was a figure it out year from the beginning. I don't care what they told us. I don't care, we're going to run the West down, all that stuff. I don't care about that. You and I have said from the beginning, this is a figure it out year. And that extends to the minor leagues. And so I appreciate that they've shown some patience. I appreciate that they've given these guys chances to develop at the levels that they need to develop. Caden Dana staying in AA, I love it. I did not want to see him up as tempting as it is. And,
sure,
God bless him. But as much as Mark Gubiza wants to see Caden Dana and how much he'll say on the broadcast, well, we might see Caden Dana up here for a start. He's doing so well. Right. I get the compliment there that he's doing well enough to get a start, but I'm so glad they didn't do it. I'm so glad because they need patience with the pitchers. Mike, you and I talked about it. The position guys, they can come up and hit right away. They can do good things right away. The pitching side, you got to take a bit more time with that. And so I appreciate that from Perry Minasian. And again, where were we 3 years ago when Perry took this job over? I don't remember being excited about any starting pitching.
No,
right?
no.
I think, there was a meme a couple of years ago, and I'm trying to remember his name, but it was, they would talk about him all the time. There's a pitcher in AA named such and such. Somebody in the comments will help me remember that one, but there just wasn't anybody to look forward to. I don't know how these guys are going to turn out, but I'm excited that they're there.
Right.
And that's more than we can say than what it's been in the past, right?
Right. Absolutely. There's 5 names, actually, 3 in AA, AAA, and then others in single A that we can get really, really excited about. Here's what I heard, John, as I want to read between the lines. I don't think they're signing any big pitcher in the offseason. I think they're running with their guys again, and I think that they're planning on letting those guys develop, and there's probably some positives in that. I think for a lot of Angel fans, we're like, oh, man, so what does that mean for this team next year? But I don't know if they're planning on contending next year. Right. I just hope that they don't lead with that. We're going to run the West down, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, right? Like, I hope they don't lead with that. I hope they're really honest with us. That's a big hope, though. But I'm an Angel fan, and I have hopium.
Parker Bridwell. That's who it was. That's the meme that everybody used to share. But again, Mike, you're right. If they don't run with the guys or if they don't run with signing a big free agent and they want to run with these guys, then better to bring them up in 2025 than try to rush them up in 2024. They've all had an extra year of development, whatever you want to call it, to get right and get things down. And that's something I really like seeing out of this team.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by Liquid IV. I love Liquid IV. My youngest daughter plays basketball. She loves Liquid IV. 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It provides 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. Plus, it's got 8 vitamins and nutrients all in 1 stick. And really, it does taste great. We're not paid to say that. I actually really enjoy the Rocket Pop flavor. It's my favorite, and the cherry flavor. And here's why my youngest can actually drink this. She's got some health issues, stomach issues, and so it's always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. So it's good for her, but it's good for me because I love all the gluten and all the dairy. So right now you can get 20% off your first order when you go to liquidiv.com and use our promo code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you go to the website liquidiv.com and use our promo code MLB at checkout. Tear poor, live more, Liquid IV.
And today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. They are now an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. They're obsessed with finding you ways to help you save money on tickets. With Game Time, you get last-minute deals on tickets and save up to 60% for all kinds of events, whether it's a baseball game, a concert, comedy, theater, whatever you want to go to. They have exclusive in-app flash deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. You can save even more with zone deals. So you just choose a section and then Game Time chooses the seats, save you a little money there too. And they have all-in pricing, so you know the total up front, no surprise fees or anything like that. Game Time has the lowest price guarantee. If you find better tickets, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So they'll pay for your tickets and then some. Plus, with every purchase, you get Game Time ticket coverage. It's covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticket industry. And if you haven't done so already, you guys know we've been talking about it for a long time. Download Game Time and use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your very first purchase. What time is it? Game Time.
Johnny, Jered Weaver, ding, he tweeted something that caught our attention. He said this: missing bats is great, but missing barrels is what gets you to the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. So missing bats versus missing barrels. Johnny, what's Weave talking about here?
Yeah, when he's talking about missing bats, he's talking about whiffs and strikeouts, right? Guys swinging through stuff. This can lead to a lot of great stats. You can have a 10K game, right, Mike, where you're striking out and your K rate is way high. But that can also lead to a lot of pitches. A good example of that, Mike, Griffin Canning's start versus the Mets on August 4th. He had 8 strikeouts on 97 pitches, but he went 5 innings pitched.
Right.
Just
5 innings. Yep.
Now, when he's talking about missing barrels, he's talking about, guys are going to hit the ball. They're going to induce contact, but it's going to be soft contact because a barrel is the degree of a launch angle and how hard it's hit. And so that's what constitutes a barrel. It's not the big meaty part of the bat, like the barrel of the bat, but that's the colloquialism, if you will. Now, missing barrels, again, that gets you quick outs, soft contact. It's what you and I like to call pitch efficiency. Now, a good example of that is how about Griffin Canning 6 days after that Mets start against the Nationals on August 10th.
Best start of the year.
No strikeouts, 88 pitches in 7 innings pitched.
Yeah.
So way less pitches, more innings, and no strikeouts versus 8 strikeouts. Now, those to me are 2 extreme examples, but that's kind of the idea of what Weaver is trying to say here. But you know me, I had to get into the numbers, Mike.
Buckle up, nerds. Here
Buckle
it
up,
comes.
nerds. Here we go. I'm a nerd myself. I wanted to dive deeper. And
yeah,
so
this is good.
I looked at the top 10 qualified starting pitchers in whiff percentage in 2024, according to StatCast. So these are guys who induce swings and misses across their whole arsenal of pitches. Number 1 was Garrett Crochet. After that is Flaherty, Dylan Cease, Cole Reagans, Tariq Skubal, Tyler Glasnow, Chris Sale, Freddie Peralta, Logan Gilbert, and Ryan Pepio. Their whiff rates, the top one is about 33% for Crochet. Pepio's about 30%, right? So in those 10 guys, there's a lot of names there that, you'd expect to be there. Skubal, Glasnow, Chris Sale, Crochet, of course. So again, the whiff rates run from about 30% to 33%. Those are the top 10 across all qualified starting pitchers. Now, how about the top 10 qualified starters with the lowest barrel percentage? Again,
this is interesting.
Getting barrels, not so much swings and misses, but inducing some soft contact, easy contact.
Yep.
Max Fried is at the top of the list, followed by Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, 2 Astros in a row. That's interesting. Chris Sale, Hunter Green, Christopher Sanchez, Michael King of the Padres, Luis Severino is on there, Tanner Houck, and Gavin Stone of the Dodgers. Now, at the top is Max Fried with a 4.5% barrel rate, so he's barely getting any barrels against him. And then the lowest at Gavin Stone of the top 10 is 6.1%. So those are the top 10 in whiff rate and the top 10 in lowest barrel percentage.
Okay, so that's a lot of good information, Johnny. So circle us back, take us back to Weaver's his tweet. He said, missing bats is great, but missing barrels is what gets you to the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. And we aren't sure that Angel starting pitchers know that there's a 7th, an 8th, and a 9th inning. And so tell us what this kind of means according to Johnny's calculations.
Yes. So how many times did the whiff rate leaders, remember these are the strikeout guys, or at least they're getting lots of strikes, how many times did they record an out in the 7th inning or later this year versus the barrel percentage guys with low barrel rates? How many times did they record an out in the 7th or later? So not necessarily finish the 7th, but get to the 7th, just like Weaver's tweet said. You want to get to the 7th, the 8th, and 9th inning. So I counted, Mike. I counted up.
You had time on your hands.
How many times did the whiff percentage leaders, the guys who are missing bats, record an out in the 7th inning or beyond?
Okay.
That total, 78 times.
Okay.
They did that this season. Who did it the most? It's Logan Gilbert from the Mariners. Mike, he's been in the 7th inning or later 16 times.
Attaboy. Wow.
This year. Now, the barrel percentage guys, the guys who are not getting hit hard, essentially, how many times did they record an out in the 7th inning or beyond? 79 times.
Oh, okay.
So who did it the
more.
most? Chris Sale of the Braves. He's done it 12 times. He's been in the 7th inning or later. He's the only one who overlaps between the whiff rate guys and the barrel rate guys. So 78 times for the whiff percentage guys, 79 times for the barrel percentage guys.
Okay.
So just a difference of one time.
Right.
So really, there's not that much of a difference between the swing and miss guys and the soft contact guys. So where I think it gets tricky, however, is a lot of the guys on these lists pitched to the 7th inning, meaning they went 6 innings pitched.
Mm-hmm.
But how often do you see, you see the highlights on Twitter, you'll see John Boy posts look at this great start from Logan Gilbert, and it's 6 innings even.
Yeah.
And I think just managers are in this habit of letting these guys just go 6 innings and then they're going to go to their bullpen, right? So I think that starters wrap up their day at 6 innings by the manager's decision way too often. And so I think that's why there's only one instance between these 20 guys of 78 times for the whiff guys, 79 times in the 7th or later for the barrel guys.
So it sounds good in theory from what Jered Weaver said, but stats say that they're just about equal. But
at least this year.
At least this year. I do think that what we can find is that there are some there are some managers that are pulling these starters a lot sooner. John,
I think that's the biggest culprit, to be honest.
Absolutely. Here's something, just a side note. For all of our everydayers who just heard you drop some knowledge on us with those stats, where do you go to get those stats so they can nerd out just like you?
Oh, Baseball Savant. You can go there. It's basically what they show you on TV, StatCast. It's Baseball Savant. And then you can go to Baseball Reference. You can go to FanGraphs. Those things will let you pick what stats you want to see and how to sort them. So that's how I got the top 10 whiff percentage guys, the top 10 barrel percentage guys. It's all between Savant, FanGraphs, and Baseball Reference.
Love it. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Now make your second listen, the Locked On MLB podcast with our friend Sully. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and it's a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day.
Hey, be sure you give us a follow at Locked On Angels on Twitter and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget, the link is in the episode description if you want to join us for the Angels All-Star Bowl put on by Logan O'Hoppe, October 5th. It's a Saturday at Cow Bowl in Lakewood. We'd love to see you there. Use our promo code BROS at checkout, BROS, to get $50 off your ticket. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
Well, we mentioned it. The Angels had a closed-door meeting before last night's game, and then it didn't actually have too much of an impact, at least initially. So if Manager John and Manager Mike were to have a closed-door meeting with this team, what would we talk about? Johnny, let's share about our meetings tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that conversation. We hope that you are too. So come back and join us for that. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Thursday.
What was the $10 word you dropped earlier?
Colloquialism.
Whew.
You know.
I don't even know how to say it.